And please, you see 1,500. And out of that number, 900 died. Mortality rate among Jewish prisoners here was huge. The main road, which was connecting Litoměřice and Prague, was actually passing through prison. But when Germans took in charge, when spring 1940, they didn't like the idea that main road was heading through the prison. So they closed this road to public and they built that road we took this morning. So during the Second World War, this road was being taken only by the inmates of the prison. So every time when they brought new transport, new trucks with those prisoners, they were using this road. Nobody. I'm always playing a game here. Let's pretend we are no longer normal citizens with regular civil rights, but let's imagine from now on we are prisoners. So they will bring you here, you have to jump off the tracks, you have to line up over there, facing that wall, and you are waiting to hear your name. And then when they call your name, you have to jog, not run, not walk, but jog, this way, inside of this first room. So let's go there. Here in this first room, bureaucracy. They took all your initials, fingerprints, everything. But please, I'm repeating, it was the same way, same procedure like during Austro-Hungarian time period. And even during Czechoslovakian prison, it was the same. But you know the Germans, they were, they are, and they always will be bureaucrats. And this was also the place where those prisoners encountered the first violence in the camp. What kind of violence?
They beat them.
Exactly. In charge of redistribution. You see those shelves on the right? On the bottom of each shelf you can see sticker, and on that sticker it says or bed sheet or towels or those bowls, etc. So here each prisoner received those 5 items with his signature. He has to sign it that he received it, and he was please, and he was responsible. If something happens, there was always a punishment. Yes.
Work makes you free.
Or labor liberates, exactly. Actually, and this is very weird here. Why? This was common for labor camps, for concentration camps, not for the police prisons. But the commander Yokl, he was trying to run the place as regular concentration camp, not as a police prison. And that's why he ordered to paint this sign here over the entrance. And you know, the meaning of this is actually, there are like 2 meanings. One, first was that you were working so hard that you forgot about the surroundings, and certain way your mind will be free. Or you will be working so hard that as a reward they will liberate you. Yeah. So in this one section, 9 people. Heads always this side. Why this side? What do you think?
So if one up against the wall, they could breathe.
But more practical reason. Point is that sometimes when those guys were coming for checkup, it was more easy to count your heads, not your leg, not your feet. You understand what I mean? So that's why prisoners were forced facing the entrance always. One toilet here, you can take a good look, a bathroom, and one sink. So this was the standard modification of prison cell block.
Also, if their feet were on this side, they'd be able to get out and jump out in case they wanted to escape or do something quickly.
This was Jewish cell. You see the difference to the room we've been just no furniture, no wooden floor, no toilet, no fireplace, nothing. So the conditions here horrible. And sometimes the story says that sometimes there were like 60 up to 70 people. Just imagine. That's horrible. Sometimes my guests are asking about those irons in the wall. It's from the old days of Austro-Hungary. It has not been used by the Nazis. So what is it for? Are you? So that was the morning call, wake-up call. It was usually 5 a.m. Then prisoners, they have 1 hour for so-called morning hygiene and for breakfast. And at 6 o'clock they have to line up all here for appel call. Jew has been beaten to death, being left laying, bleeding on the ground. But those doctors, local doctors, Czechs, prisoners themselves, they brought them here and put them inside. When Germans come and are like, what's the story? Why you put that stinky Jew? You see, this is how you're supposed to report yourself. Stinky Jew, Solomon Molchoy. Not some number or whatever, but stinky Jew and your name. So the German guard was coming like, why you put that stinky Jew here? And the doctor will come and say, he has a tuberculosis. We have to put him on the quarantine. And this way, they gave few extra days for the men to, please sir, can you move? So here, those prisoners from solitary rooms took their shower. You see the small channel, it takes the dirty water, used water to this yard. So the shower room. Primitive, exactly the same way like during the wartime period. It's secluded. Yeah. It's, just imagine, doors had been closed. So if you brought somebody here, nobody knew what was happening here. Yeah. So you can imagine, this was the place where some German guards were beating to death some of the prisoners, especially Jewish ones. They were trying to get even some precious stuff from them. You know, some of the Jews, they smuggled, let's say, some rings or some earrings or whatever. And what happens, that there were 2 or 3 guards, they knew about this, and they focused on some of those Jews from early morning hours, and they were bullying him, kicking him, beating him, punching him. After a few hours of such treatment, they approached him and told him, look, Isaac, we know you have some stuff, give it to us, and we'll let you live. So drunk, among other friends, other guards, they were telling them about this, how much they get from those Jews. And hey, it was a crime. And they ended in jail themselves. Yes, because they were stealing and not giving it back to the government. You understand what I mean? Small pieces of your clothing, they close it, they release the steam, cyclone B, not killing the humans, but killing the fleas and bugs. So here this was for small stuff, and here the large stuff. And those boots, pants, jackets, shirts, then inside we close it, release the steam, cyclone B. Authentic, still working. This I'm stressing, my friends, still working. Yes. It's not like just few, but 28. And here they receive some health care. Primitive, but at least something. Plus, prisoners, they have to pay for it. And just imagine that those Russian POWs, they didn't have any monies. So guess what happens? Sometimes Czech prisoners, they gave them monies to pay for the treatment. I'm repeating, the treatment was primitive. According to eyewitness testimonies, I know about one case, what happens, they were conducting blood transfusion using plastic bags, and as the needle, they used what's inside of the pen. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Or I know about case of amputation. One prisoner, he injured his leg during walking outside of the camp. There were even talks to visit a small fortress. And because of that visit, Jokl decided to turn the cell into beautiful shower room. So it was a propaganda, a showcase. Please, let's focus on that large yellow complex, so-called Dresdener Kaserne. It was women's barracks, where women were staying. But it's a really large complex. And remember in the movie, it started with soccer game. Yeah. And where the soccer game took place, inside of that complex, there's a large yard, which has been turned into a soccer field. But you know, it was not large enough for proper size football soccer field. So it was a little bit reduced size. So they have to reduce size of the players on each side. In a normal soccer team, there are 11 players on each side, but here, 7 gas chambers exactly in this section. But thank God, it never materialized this. There was certain Jewish resistance in ghetto town, and guess what? They were ready to destroy those gas chambers. Second, they get copies of the keys from the storage room where Cyclone B gas was kept. So let's say Jews will learn that on Monday day Germans are ready to use the gas chamber. So they were ready to destroy the facility, plus to even destroy the storage room with gas chamber, with Cyclone B. So there were gas chambers here in Theresienstadt. Yes, it's true, but they won't be never used, never. So.